Alright, everybody. We are live. Apparently Instagram is telling people that there is more followers to join the video. For those of you listening, welcome and thanks for joining this very special episode of the Aquarium podcast live. I thought I'd do something a bit different for the last episode. As many who listen probably know, all of my episodes are pre-written and recorded, and on average it probably takes me about 2 to 3 hours just to write an episode, and then all the editing afterwards. So it's nice to do something a bit more freelance with a live stream, because it's a bit more like you get people to join in, and I don't have to try and sit there and write a lot of stuff for an episode. So yeah, it's cool, and I like to talk to people. You know, it's good to say so many people already joining and starting the banter already. It's good to see you, everybody. Thanks for joining. We're getting there with a few followers. But yeah, like I said, it's been really good doing the podcast. I'm kind of glad that it's sort of come to its end now. It's been 10 weeks now, I think. So it's been a bit of a long 10 weeks, but we got there. And like I said, it's good to do something different. And I haven't done a live stream in a long time as well. I know that the previous ones that I've done have been quite fun. So it's good to talk and have the banter. So good to see everybody joining in. Hi, everybody. So I might as well just kick into it, really. I think I just wanted to start a little bit of a topic conversation, really, about hang on, there's a few questions being asked. Is that a tank without botanicals? Yeah, it is. That's my Jungle Val one. I don't know if you remember, I did a video a while back on my YouTube, and the tank got set up, and a few weeks later the Jungle Val all melted. The tank looked horrendous, and I'm not one for just ripping down an aquarium and starting again and buying loads of fresh new plants. I'm more of a believer of letting nature sort of take its course, and as predicted, a few months later, all the jungle valves start to grow back. There is 1 or 2 botanicals in there, so it's not completely without. But as you can see behind me, the other 2 are very much full of botanicals, and there is a couple more maybe below and stuff, and more to come, I'm hoping, that are going to be full of them. So but as I said, I wanted to sort of start a bit of a topic of conversation. I think that people have been posting recently about a aquascaping competition, and it's always great to get other people's perspective on these type of things happening in the hobby. For me personally, there is a bit of a sort of a mixed opinion. I think as an art thing, maybe these aquascape competitions can be great if you're looking at it from an art point of view. As long as you're not involving animals, I think that's when things start to get a little bit frustrating on my behalf. These kind of aquariums being set up are purely for a competition. A lot have been heavily photoshopped. A lot of the plants and hardscape and everything has been bought purely for the actual aquascape itself. So that's great right at the very beginning, and getting all your fancy pictures and photoshopping them, but then nobody shows what happens to those aquariums a month or 2 months or 3 months down the line, even 6 months to a year. And generally the reality of it is most people get bored of the aquarium after a couple of weeks, end up trashing it and then starting again, and that's just the sort of the natural cycle of aquascaping, I think. Like I said, if it's not got any animals in it, then it's fine to play around with plants. I guess they're quite resilient enough to bounce back, as long as you're not kind of kind of going a bit crazy. I think it's probably a waste of money if you're just dumping all the plants and then buying brand new ones just to start a new aquarium. But yeah, I do think it's unfair if you're having animals in these aquascapes to just trash it, because, you know, ultimately you're supposed to be giving these fish a home, and to go and put those fish in an aquarium which they then consider their home, to then trash it and then start again, is going to throw that poor animal's mindset off completely. And you have to remember that a lot of these fish, as we've previously touched on before in this podcast and YouTube, is that the fish either come from wild habitats, you know, hundreds of miles away in, say, South America, and then they're shipped through all that process to get to our house. And that's just a lot of stress on an animal, to then put them into your fish tank and then trash it, and then put the animals into something completely different. And I think, like, you should be going for the long term, really, and, you know, using that as a platform to for your fish, you know, for the rest of their life. I do get that some animals outgrow their tanks. For me personally, you know, I have fish in a, you know, these marine fish in my 50-litre aquarium up the top here, and I know that that's, you know, end game, not what I want, but for the time being, that's all that I can afford, that's all I have space for, yeah. But the long-term plan is to move them out. So I will eventually have to take the plunge into moving them. But for me, that seems like a more sensible option to, you know, sort of consider the fish's welfare first, before just saying, all right, that aquarium looks crap, there's a bit of algae in it or something, or all the plants have died or whatever it is, I'm going to trash it and start again. Which is kind of what a lot of these you know, aquascapes are and stuff. And I'm not saying everybody's like it, or the whole hobby's like it or anything, but I do think that there is a big majority of people, and I think the mindset of it is a bit crazy. And, you know, it's quite interesting seeing a lot of the people commenting on their entries for this competition recently, and being disappointed that they didn't get to, you know, a certain number, and next year they're going to try harder and things like that. And I think it's great to, you know, sort of improve your skills maybe as an artist, if you're looking at it from that perspective. But again, you know, there is an element of fish in this. This is a fish keeping hobby. So you are using vessels, you know, which are these glass boxes that we keep our animals in. So maybe you should consider, you know, that as well. Maybe people do. I don't know. I'm not an expert at that kind of stuff, but it's just stuff from, you know, my personal perspective. And I guess, like, again, you could go back to having competitions that get scored on certain things laid out in certain ways. Doesn't that surely go back to, like, beauty contests and things like that? So is this not just a beauty contest for aquascaping? I don't know. I'm probably going to get slaughtered for saying that, but, you know, I just think that, yeah, maybe the misconception is there. Who knows? You know, it'd be good to see more sort of these things maybe focused towards, you know, replicating natural environments. And I do think there is one or two of these kind of competitions that kind of sort of zone in on how authentic your aquarium is. But again, I don't know, it's just a competition, isn't it? It's like anything in life. It's just a competition. Like, all you get is a digital you know, grade for it or something, or a piece of paper that you can stick to your wall to say, you know, you reached a certain level in something. Doesn't matter. Are you enjoying it? Are you getting stressed from trying to better yourself, or to try and compete with these world class people just for some other guy such as me or you sitting behind a desk judging someone else's fish tank? It's like, who cares? I just want to enjoy my hobby. For me, I look at my tanks and I love them for what they are. I don't care if people don't like them. It's what I enjoy, and ultimately that makes me happy, and that's the most important thing, I think, with the hobby is doing what you want to do and doing what makes you happy. And a lot of people, again, will say that fish keeping is good for your well-being. Well, then, if it is, why are you worrying about what other people think of your fish tank? You know, if it's about your well-being, then do you be happy with what you've got. And if you're not happy, you know, improve to make yourself better, but don't do it for somebody else or a competition. I think that's the sort of the sort of focus or mindset that I'm sort of veering towards, I think, in that topic. So I don't know, what does everybody else think? Let us know in the comments section as well. I do like to hear thoughts on this, and hope that I'm probably not the only person to sort of take a different view of these things. But yeah, I mean, there has been a lot of people like getting upset by the scores that they've got or the position that they fell into for a massive global aquascaping competition. You know, I don't know. Probably some people would argue that I don't know, some sort of bitter person or something, because my aquariums would never be good enough for a competition like that, but I don't care. I really don't. But yeah, I think that's just one of the most interesting things that I saw on the internet recently, was this competition. Yeah, it's been a bit of a crazy week, to be honest. For me personally, I've just got back from a camping trip, so my mind's a little bit fried. I've had 3 nights in a tent with 2 children, one which is sleeping perfectly at the moment, and the other one that is not. And to have to be in a tent with a child that's screaming every couple of hours has been a nightmare. So apologies if my brain is all over the place today, but yeah, it's been a bit crazy. But I really wanted to do this live stream. I've still got a video to make for YouTube, which I need to get onto, because I'm a bit behind on them, so that's crazy. Yeah, so some few people commenting in the comments here. And what we got saying here? My tanks are trash. I hope that weren't referring to me. Shows you tanks. I've got a couple that you can see behind. I don't want to show you one. There is one down here that I'm still working on at the moment, and I haven't sort of put anything on my social media, on my YouTube channel just yet. I'm hoping to get something on very soon with that one. I'm really excited about it. It's something a little bit different to what I've seen. I think 1 or 2 people have done it, but yeah, it's just my own take on it, and it's just pretty cool to try out and see and experiment with, so I'm really excited about that. And that is a marine tank as well, so all you reefers that follow me, that's something to look forward to if you see them. As you can see behind me, this is my macroalgae lagoon. You can't see very well because of the reflection, but some of the macroalgae sort of went sexual and died off. So it's sort of half and half. Some's picked up again, but the corals are doing really well in there. That light is pretty impressive, to be honest. I think that it definitely needs 2 in there to get better growth on it, but yeah, it's still a good light. But yeah, the fish are doing really well, and I recently purchased a Pajama Cardinal fish. He keeps hiding in the corner at the moment. It was only about a week ago I got him or her, and yeah, that's such an amazing looking fish, and I saw it in the shop, and I've been wanting one for absolutely months now, and I couldn't find him anywhere except on the internet, where the prices were way too much. And yeah, I saw it in my local fish shop the other day. There was 2 in there, but I got there too late and someone had already bought one, so yeah, I managed to get the other one. Behind me obviously is my sort of natural or black water, or whatever you want to call them. So I've got my orange Sakura shrimp tank here, and there's loads in there, and then I've got my black rose kind of wild types in here, and then there is some red willy shrimp in this one here, and then I've got cherry shrimp in the one below, and then the one below that is my sort of Amazon sort of replica aquarium that I'm sort of trying to work on, which is looking pretty good. I've moved a few bits and pieces around, yeah, and yeah, it looks really cool so far. But yeah, maybe I'll do a tank tour at some point. It is on my list of videos to make, but I need to maybe post a video about my last tank that I'm working on before I can do that, so I've kind of been holding out on it. There's a few people sort of asking questions again. Hove Reefer, it says, what's the one thing you wish you had been told or advised when you first started? Not to listen to people on Facebook. That's probably one of the things that I wish I hadn't done. Not that I really did. I spent most of my time researching, but I think probably the biggest thing was don't impulse. I'd done it too many times at the beginning. Walked into my local fish shop, went, oh my god, I want that fish, shrimp, coral, whatever, and get at home, realised that I jumped into that too quickly, and it's bit me, and it still bites me today. I've still got one particular animal that is in my tank, and it's not causing me any trouble, but because I didn't do a little bit of research beforehand, I thought I'd done enough, then it's turned out to be a little bit of an issue with something that I'm still working on, which is in my marine tank, but I'm working on that, so that's fixed. But yeah, again, it just goes back to don't impulse buy, and for me that was a bit of an impulse. I walked into a marine shop or a fish shop, and then I saw that and I thought, yeah, that would be pretty cool, and I had done my research on the animal beforehand, but then yeah, it's just one of those things where you realise afterwards, you're like, oh, that's why. But yeah, it's still cool. I love them. So what's everybody else saying then? So, water tanks look good. Cheers, BT Aquariums. Thanks there. Yeah, saltwater tanks are definitely something that everybody should try when they get a chance to. Whether that's a few months or years after you've started, I definitely, as much as you can do it. Salt water is a little bit more advanced than just sort of starting out. The only reason I say it is mostly because of the mix and the salt and stuff. It's just a bit of a pain in the ass, and if you've got to try and take on learning how to mix salt and getting that salinity correct right at the very beginning, as well as learning how to cycle an aquarium and all the other stuff that goes with it, yeah, it's just an added layer of unnecessary stress probably. So you're best off starting with something like a freshwater tank, and yeah, going from there really. I think that's learn it, do your research first, definitely. Thankfully I did do that. I did research a lot before I started. I'm a bit of a sponge when it comes to wanting to learn things, and before I started my first aquarium, I looked online, and I just spent ages looking on Google and watching loads of YouTube videos, and eventually sort of started. So I did thankfully hit the cycle thing perfectly. It was only after a few months that I think I've talked about it before, a pest snail outbreak, and that was what ultimately made me take down that tank. But yeah, it's all been good so far. So yeah, I think in terms of what this live stream is all about, was my podcast, and as I said, it's the end of the podcast. It's been 10 weeks now. I'm glad it's over. It's nice to have a bit of a break from all the writing. I hope everybody's enjoyed it. It'd be lovely to hear some feedback. You don't get feedback from a podcast, and people don't often, message you or tell you if it's any good. Even the podcasts I listen to, I never message the person and say, oh, I really liked that episode, that was really good. So you just assume people like it, or they don't, but just don't tell you. So it'd be nice to hear some feedback, I guess. And what was your favourite episode, I guess, from the this season as well? I think a couple of my favourite ones probably was the one I talked recently about snails and them having more to offer in the hobby. I definitely think that's true. I think that a lot of people tend to avoid, things that aren't very attractive in aquariums, which I think is why people tend to avoid blackwater aquariums a lot, because they're not visually appealing to most people. And snails, I think, are one of those very underrated animals in the hobby that do so much for most of our fish tanks, that why would you not want to explore that more? And they're definitely not explored as much as they should be, and it'd be interesting to see some cool tanks. I mean, people have shrimp tanks now and they're all the rage, so why not have a snail tank? And that was part of the conversation that I was having on that topic. It was really cool. The other ones that were pretty interesting, you know, was that recent news article when people were talking about if you should put your fish from the hobby back into, you know, the oceans or the rivers that they come from, and some of the bizarre and crazy suggestions from that. I think it was just really interesting to talk about. Sorry. Throat's going. Yeah, it was just really interesting to talk about. And yeah, I mean, it is a bit of a strange one. I get, as I said in the episode, I get where people are coming from with, you know, not taking or putting them back because that's where they belong. But ultimately, a lot of the fish nowadays are, you know, bred within the hobby, and they don't know what their natural environments are. So to put them back in could cause a lot more problems than they resolve. And I think that was what I was going for in that episode. Another one that I thought was really good was obviously trusting brands from influencers. I always think that's a really funny one. You know, especially these days, I think that there's so many people, especially on like Instagram and other social media platforms, that just get products thrown at them and they're happy to post them and blow smoke up all these companies' backsides. And ultimately, when that company stops giving the products, do that person then start promoting those products still? No. And I think that's happened quite recently, especially with the pandemic and supply from certain countries, especially if you're living in the UK. A lot of European companies, for example, especially the ones that were pumping products into this country as freebies, they then obviously had to stop because of like issues with getting stuff into the country, thanks to Mr. Taxman of the UK. And yeah, and now nobody's promoting those products anymore. And I just think it's really interesting that clearly people wouldn't have actually gone out and bought those products if they hadn't actually been sent them. And yeah, then it makes you really wonder what is actually the truth in this hobby and what's not. And so that's why I always say to people, like, just be very careful about it. You know, try the products yourself. You know, you can only go on what people are saying on social media, and you know, I try in my YouTube videos to be as honest as I can about the product. I don't blow smoke if I just refuse to. If they don't want to send me anything afterwards, then that's on them. But I just like to give my perspective on how it's worked for me, and if it's any good, if it's good value for money, that sort of stuff. Not just doing a fancy Instagram post and saying how great this product is. I'd rather give an honest opinion and help grow this community as opposed to just stagnating. You know, that's my ethos for everything that I do. Will it work? Who knows? But I have to try. But yeah, I think, like I said, that's sort of my favourite episodes really on the podcast. The one about bashing people in fish shops was quite funny as well. I thought that was a good one to write, and I had a few people message me afterwards saying, do you actually work in a fish shop? And I was like, no, it was just personal perspective. I mean, you walk in there and you see some people and it just blows your mind why you'd get so stroppy with some of these staff members, and I get some of the, you know, the reasons for it. But again, have a listen to the podcast. It gives my views from both sides of the story, and it's a good one to listen to, especially if you do work in the you know, in that trade. You know, hopefully there's something you can relate to on that. But yeah, I think that's it. You know, in terms of what's coming up, what's happening for me personally, there's loads of stuff going on. I'm always working, my mind is always going crazy. I have, as I said, a marine tank that's right over my shoulder, which I'm not going to show you, but that is coming, you know, coming on really well. It's been going for quite a fair few months now, and it's gone through all of the ugly stages, still kind of going through some of it, but it doesn't bother me at all. I'm now about to add the final bits because it's just part laziness and part finding the time to actually go out and get the things that I needed, but I finally got them, and so I will be putting those bits and pieces in the aquarium, and then maybe I can make a video on it, which would be really cool. as part of the sort of mini Blackwater series that I've been doing on my YouTube channel. I've got a few more episodes to go on that, and I'm also planning another Blackwater aquarium to go with the video. So that's something I just want to sort of show the process, so people, if they haven't sort of seen how to create one, it's just how I do it. It's not law or the rules or anything like that. It's just one that I'm going to be making. It's been in my mind for God knows how long now, so it'd be nice to actually get it in a fish tank. So I have that planned, which is really great. Probably the biggest thing that I've got going on, which I'm really excited about, and this is a podcast exclusive, by the way, is that I am finally going to be moving out of my kitchen in my house and moving to a new location, which is in my garden. And ultimately, I've just been refurbing, renovating, whatever you want to call it, my shed, and I'm going to be using that as a fish room, fish studio, fish whatever you want to call it, and then have like loads more tanks. So I've had the okay from the wife that says you can go as mad as you want once it's out of her kitchen, so I'm really excited about that. Ultimately, it means that then I can sort of get a bit more structure to the fish tanks that I've got, because I won't lie, it's an absolute pain trying to do water changes from a racking system, especially when you've got tanks crammed in as I have. I thought it was a good idea at the time, again, regrets. But yeah, it'd be nice to have them laid out, and in a room like that I've got my own space. I can go wild with aquariums, and I can have some really cool setups, some stuff as well that I've been wanting to do for ages but just haven't had the space to do so. You know, I think I remember saying ages ago that I'd love to do like a marine shrimp only tank. Well, maybe I can do that now. My snail tank, something like that, which would be awesome to try. So little bits and pieces like that I plan on doing. Lots more builds, lots more, you know, tanks, like I said. So there's lots coming up. It's taken a while to do, because I've been having to try and do it in any free time that I've got. As anyone knows, with children, free time is not abundance. So it's being stuck out there at the late hours of the evening or something, trying to work on it, and obviously there's an expense to it as well. So I'm having to wait until each payday comes before I can sort of continue with bits and pieces. But as I said, it's really coming on now. I'm really excited about it. It'd be great, like I said, to move out of the kitchen. We can get some nice space back in here, and then yeah, I can go wild in my new fish house. So that's really cool, and that's something I've got going on. You know, if I'm not one for begging or asking for anything, but if anybody is interested, I have a Patreon account, and if you want to help support any future aquariums or projects or anything that's coming up with this fish house, that, you know, any little would go a long way. And yeah, I mean, like I said, if you don't, then that's cool, but yeah, it's what the Patreon's for, I guess. And yeah, if you want to help, by all means, I'd be eternally grateful for it. So yeah, that's a lot of the stuff really I've got going on in terms of fish stuff, I think. Yeah, I don't really know. Oh yeah, and I just wanted to talk really about my YouTube channel as well. So, you know, things are going really well on that as well. Sorry, someone just commented, link to your OnlyFans. Yeah, it's now a safe place, isn't it? Apparently. Yeah, I can't post any risque content anymore. But yeah, Patreon is probably where it's at, to be honest. And also, like, it'd be interesting. Again, I love feedback. You know, good or bad, whatever. But with the Patreon account, I'd love to know if people are interested in supporting, if they think that it's too much or too little or whatever, or if I'm not giving enough for, you know, the Patreon thing. I'm more than happy to sort of put out more than extra content. I'm working really hard on that sort of stuff going forward. It's really hard, again, with my podcast. I can't monetize it because I live in the UK, and apparently it's only an American thing with the platform that I host with. So it's a pain with that. Obviously, I'm not at my 1K subscriber mark on YouTube yet, and I can't monetize any of my videos until I get to that point as well. And I also found out, because I've hit the overwatch time on YouTube, they've started putting adverts on my videos, which is really annoying, because I'm like, well, so we're putting adverts on my videos, but I can't earn anything from them. So that is a bit of an annoying thing, but nothing I can do about it. But I'm getting very close to the 1K mark, slow and steady as always. Thanks to everybody that has taken the time to subscribe to my channel. If you haven't, and you're listening or you're watching this, or you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. I'd really appreciate it. There's loads of different content on there. Again, if you've got any feedback on YouTube as well, like what kind of videos do you like? What kind of stuff do you enjoy most from me? I'm working really hard on my videos as well. I'm really honing in on what my viewers want, but it's really hard to read the YouTube analytics and find out exactly what people are actually enjoying on my channel, because it seems like I get high traffic through review videos and subscribers, but I also get a lot of subscribers from other videos that I do, and there's no consistency really in what I'm getting, and I don't really want to pander to like one sort of niche either, because I quite enjoy doing a lot of different stuff. But yeah, it's really hard if you want to play the game of YouTube. I think sometimes, yeah, you just have to kind of just sort of bend over sometimes, but I'm trying not to. But it'd be good to know what people enjoy. As I said, I want to make content which people actually enjoy. I enjoy making it either way, so it is all good for me. But yeah, like I said, getting there with the YouTube. Again, if you haven't, please subscribe. That's all I've got really to rant about or chat about, or give you an update on. Oh yeah, with the YouTube thing also, some people who follow me may have noticed that I've started adding some random YouTube shorts, and it's something that I've kind of avoided for a long time, and I've kind of bit the bullet, because things like this, when social media companies put out a new platform or project or a product on their platform, they tend to then penalize people that aren't using those features. So for example, if you're on Instagram, they've got the Reels thing, which is a rip-off of TikTok, and YouTube Shorts is a rip-off of TikTok as well. And it seems like everyone's on this TikTok wave, and everything that else goes on. So in order to sort of keep with the algorithms and stuff, I thought I'd try and see if Shorts do anything for me. So far they've made absolute jack difference, but yeah, they've been quite fun to make. It'd just be interesting to know if people liked them. Apparently YouTube are pushing this even more over the next year or two, so it's something that's definitely around. They're putting it on everybody's feeds, so you have to sort of play the game sometimes, as I said before. But yeah, I mean, they're quite fun to make. It's something different, and like I said, I'm all up for trying different things. Yeah, I don't know. I might have a check through the comments. If anybody's got any questions or anything they want any help with, or just my view on, write it in the comments and have a look. And I will start having a look through some of the previous comments and see if I can catch up. Thanks to everybody that's joined or taken the time to watch these videos. I know that live things as well on these platforms, sometimes people love them, some people don't care for them. It's really hard to know what's good and what platform to do stuff on. I want to do them on YouTube more often, but YouTube's just such a pain in the ass at the moment until you can get past the 1K subscribers, because you have to use third-party softwares just to stream on their platform, and that's fine. But for some reason, last time I tried, it just had the software I had, which is one that loads of people use, just had a massive meltdown on me, and it just caused loads of lags, loads of problems, and yeah, it just became too stressful. Plus, hardly anybody actually bothered to watch it. So I thought I'd try on Instagram and see if that made any difference again. And it's always quite fun with the Instagram ones again, because there's more people that sort of tends to comment. I found that is a bit more interesting on here. BT Aquarium says fish shed build. Yep, that's right. I did mention it earlier. I don't know if you were around at that point, but yeah, working on a fish shed. It's more than halfway done. I'm getting there very slowly. I'm just working. I've done most of it now. I just need to sort out electrics, and then sort out actual stands and things like that, because I'm going to build some fish stands this time. I'm going to give that a go and see how well that works for me. Yeah, and then try and get rid of like using these kind of racking systems, have proper setups in there and stuff, and see how it goes. But yeah, as I said, it'd be cool because it means that I can add as many tanks as I can fit into the room, and I can try some different things. Maybe try and give the aquascapers a run for their money, but I don't know if I'm that good, to be honest. RC Aquarius says get your shorts on and you'll get loads of subscribers. Yeah, probably, mate. It tends to be a lot of what people do these days, but yeah. Also another question, would you ever spend money on the DOA ADA stuff? No. As much as they're really good quality stuff, I can't justify the costs. I really can't. People call me tight all the time, and I'm happy to spend my money. Ask my wife. She always moans at me about how much money I spend on stuff, but I feel like you can get a lot of stuff cheaper elsewhere. Case in point, this aquarium, this aquarium, this aquarium, that aquarium, all came from B&M, and there's nothing wrong with those tanks. They're all shrimp tanks, and they're really good quality. The filter in them is god awful, so get rid of that. Get rid of all the shitty stickers that come with it. But for the most part, it's a solid tank. I've never had any problems with them so far. I think they're really good. So yeah, I know with the other stuff, like I said, the more bougie or expensive you get, the longer lasting, better quality, better looking. But it's just really hard. I always find it really frustrating and mixed, in my opinion, about spending loads of money on certain brands and products when there's equally good products for less money. Those Nicrew LED lights I find really good value for money, and I've not had any problems with them, and I think that they give some of the more expensive premium brands a good run for their money. Again, I've got another temperature controller. This is an Inkbird one here. But I have one by Nicrew, and there's differences, but that one is now 50 quid and the Nicrew one was like £15, and the only difference that I got from this one is that it's a bit more waterproof and you get to use Wi-Fi, and that's it. Is that justified for the value of the money? I don't know, but I like to give things a good try and see how it goes. Someone asked BT Aquariums, is it going to be any videos on the build? No. I thought about it, and the amount of work that's gone into actually making or building the thing, and then to add trying to film it as well, has been quite difficult. I won't lie, I have done bits and pieces, like got some video shots of like as it's been going on, so maybe I can sort of try and put together a sort of montage of it, and I definitely will be doing like a tour of the room and all that sort of stuff, and I can definitely talk about what I've done in there and probably get judged on on how I've done it by all the experts. But yeah, I'm definitely going to do something, but I haven't been sort of, you know, vlogging my way through the through the build, because it's just too much to try and do YouTube videos, podcasts, and then try and do all the work on the shed, as well as making a video in the background as well. Some of the reviews and videos that I do are all running in the background anyway, and to add just another one, yeah, it's just a bit stressful. And yeah, it's just, yeah, but I will do something. I think that will be good. So someone put, Hive Reefer, what's the realistic chances of me having a good coral tank with a one built sump, an all-in-one built sump? I don't know, mate. Is that how much money you've got? I would guess, based on how much space. Yeah, that's a bit of a difficult question to ask or answer. Do what you want. For me, I don't have any refugiums or sumps or anything on my reef tanks. I run this reef tank up here on a hang-on. The other reef tank, or saltwater tank, should I say, runs on an internal filter that you'd put in any fish tank. Again, goes back to a lot of money, a lot of space, doesn't make any difference. Should you be using all these products for reef aquariums and making them sterile? Should you be more replicating nature? Yes, I know it's in a fish tank, but yeah, that's just my view sometimes. But yeah. How's everyone doing then? You know, I haven't asked many. I don't know if I asked at the beginning of the thing, but yeah, is everybody good? How are we all doing? Especially with the pandemic, are we at the end yet, or are we still in it? It's nice to see things opening up. I got to go to my first football game the other day and watch Norwich play, and it was the most stressful experience of my life getting in. But once I was actually in and watching the game, that was great fun. But yeah, certainly still a culture shock going back to a full stadium and massive crowds of people walking into the stadium. So yeah, that was quite an interesting one for me. But it's good to see that in terms of the hobby, I think that ironically now the lockdowns are lifted, you don't notice as many people being active, especially all the ones that were heavily active during the pandemic and the lockdowns. And it seems like the hobby's taken a bit of a sort of a step off the throttle. But I think that does naturally happen this time of year as well. As the sun comes out, people would want to be out of the house and not sitting in the house. And the hobby tends to spike more as the year comes to an end and Christmas starts appearing again. So yeah, I would imagine it's going to start picking up again. But it's nice to see shops actually stocked with things again. I know that supply is still a little bit difficult. Again, as I mentioned earlier about a lot of products being imported from Europe is a nightmare at the moment. There's still half of the stuff you can't get, especially like a load of companies that I was collaborating with that were sending me products to sort of review and things like that. Can't get them into the country. Been struggling with like taxing and all that sort of stuff. So yeah. So yeah, I'm having to go and do what everybody else does and buy my own products, which is actually just not really phased me at all. Like I said, I'm not one to plaster a load of products that all over my social media feeds. If I don't believe in the products, I'll only buy and promote what I actually do use, because that's more fair to people. So we are coming to the 45-minute mark, and I don't like to go too long on these live streams because I think people get bored. You'll have to let me know if people are getting bored, but yeah, if you've got any more questions, hit us up in the comments. I'll give it another minute or two and then I am signing off because I want to put my feet up. Like I said, I've been camping all week. I got back yesterday and I've been out all day, and yeah, it's very tiring, but I love doing this live streaming. I love talking to people, especially people in the hobby. As fish nerds have got to stick together. If you talk about any of the stuff that we've probably talked about in the last 45 minutes to anybody else that wasn't interested in the hobby, you'd probably get that look of, you weirdo. So yeah, it's nice to talk to people that actually don't get freaked out when you start saying, I've got 9 fish tanks in my kitchen, and then people go, why? Do you not have a life? But yeah, it's good fun. In the meantime, I guess once again I just want to thank everybody for the support. For me personally, I think a lot of these social media platforms are getting a bit out of control. I think a lot of people are now celebrating milestones at every 100 bleeding followers, especially on Instagram and stuff, and then, you know, showing all their gratitude and stuff. For me, I really appreciate like people actually bothering to take the time to comment, follow me, you know, speak to me on direct messages, watch my YouTube videos, comment on my YouTube videos. That sort of stuff goes a long way. People that have taken the time to subscribe and actually taken the time out of their evening to watch my content or follow along, like I said on this live stream. Probably there's not people that watch this for more than a few minutes or seconds, but for the people that have stuck along, I really appreciate it. People that have, you know, taken the time to support me on Patreon. I haven't got loads of people or anything, but the people that I have, you know, I can't thank them enough. A little goes a long way. It really does. It doesn't have to be grand gestures like people say. Somebody bought my t-shirt once. I really appreciated that. You know, it's just a really nice thing, and it's more for helping to grow this channel and build a community of you know, that we can be proud of, as I always say, and not just stagnate and stop. It's all about moving it forward in a better direction, a more positive direction, and helping, you know, those beginners who start out not fall victim to the mistakes, as I've mentioned loads of times before in my podcast episodes, so I won't bore you with that, but definitely listen back if you haven't to those episodes, because there is some, you know, some honest, valid opinions in my view about what needs to change in the hobby. And yeah, going back to what I was saying, you know, if you want to support me, Patreon, YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Like I said, I'm nearly at the 1k mark. I'm really trying hard to get to that point. It's such a slog on YouTube. I don't know if anybody's ever made a YouTube channel and then they say it's easy. It's not. Yeah, some people I do think get a lot of luck. I think that if you find something that is really popular or trendy, then yeah, I guess your subscribers will just go higher up. Maybe it's just me. Maybe people don't like me. Who cares anyway? I don't. But yeah, I'm getting there, and like I said, I really appreciate everybody that's subscribed. If you want to buy any of my merch and help support the channel, like I said, all the money goes to the channel. It doesn't go into into my pocket to fund me for, I don't know, beer at the weekend or anything like that. It actually goes into the fish tanks and the microphones, or the computer software, or the additional hard drive I need to create more videos and things like that. So like I said, a little goes a long way, and I really appreciate that. Again, hopefully if you have been listening to this live stream, you've been listening to the podcast, and I really thank you all for listening to that podcast as well, because that takes a long time to write, as I said before, as well as my YouTube videos, and I love doing that, and I want to do some more of that. I have definite plans to do a season 4. I do really enjoy doing the podcast thing. In terms of YouTube content, one thing I've realized is that I think I was overdoing myself with 2 videos a week and then a podcast. So I decided when starting this season of this podcast to take away that second video, and I think now the podcast is finishing. I'm only going to go down to just doing 1 video a week, and what I'm going to really do is, as I've been doing, focus a lot more on quality of my videos as opposed to quantity, and it was never about like pushing tons and tons of videos out to get loads of subscribers really quick. It was just more about I had loads going on in my head and I just wanted to get it out there. And yeah, so, and it's still the same now. I've got a list on my phone, and it's just ridiculous of the amount of ideas on video topics, aquascapes, aquarium builds, fish that I want, loads of that sort of stuff, all ready to be filmed. So yeah, like I said, I really appreciate it. I don't want to waffle on anymore. I know these things get boring. Like I said, thanks if you want to support me. You know, like I said, it's there. All the links below. If you want to follow along my social media platforms, again, all in the links. There's like a link tree in my profile, or if you listen on YouTube, yeah, it's all there as well. The podcast, it's all in the links there. Definitely drop me a message, chat. You know, I'm all about chatting and meeting people. It's always great fun. I've met some really great people so far in this hobby, and yeah, if you ever want to chat, I'm generally about to have a convo of some sort, or a bit of banter. Yeah, I'm all good for that. But yeah, there's just a couple more people that are making some comments. So yeah, RC Aquaria says, yeah, the look on people's face when they see my fish room is priceless. I know, yeah. Every time people come around to my house, they just look at me and they just go, what, why? And I'm like, why not? Like, I love fish. And you can't have everything in one fish tank, so you're going to have multiple ones. And yeah, ultimately, that's what I've done. I wanted a different type of aquarium, so I had to have more. And that's my reasoning for it, and my excuse. Just spotted my first buried tiger shrimp. The wife won't care, so I'll just share it with you nerds. Yeah, I do all the time. Sometimes I see something happening. I like my tank here. I've put red willy shrimp in, and one of the shrimp laid a load of eggs, and I've seen tons of little shrimplets. And then I noticed that the other shrimp, because I only put 2 in there because it was all I had, but they were 2 really high grade ones, and that one's now the same female is now buried again, and yeah, her belly's full. I took a picture, so I'll try and upload it at some point. But yeah, it's amazing, and just seeing all these little shrimplets like swimming around is so cool. But yeah, I try and say to my wife, and she just looks at me like, yeah, it's a shrimp. And I'm like, no, but it's so cool because they're tiny. Or like, yeah, like I said, my new Pajama Cardinal fish for my saltwater tank, or my corals or something like that. Yeah, I think people that don't enjoy it just see it as like, wow, think of the money you could be, or think of the things you could be spending that money on. But yeah, very addictive hobby. It's a great hobby. I love it. Yeah, I really enjoy it. I couldn't be without it. It helps give me a focus, especially on those days where things get really stressful, or just a long day at work or something like that, and just having that 5 minutes to just spend time looking at your fish, or realizing something's going on, or just pottering about with them, you know, moving something about because it doesn't look right in the area, spotting that little fish that's hatched, or your fish are breeding, or you've noticed some natural behaviors happening. All that sort of stuff is really cool. I just enjoy feeding them sometimes, like you know, at the end of the evening or whatever. That's the last thing I do before I lock up and everything, is I just get some food out, feed the fish, and then I'll just stand there and watch them and see what's going on. And it just helps relax just before I go to bed. So yeah, it's really cool. Anyway, enough rambling, enough ranting. Thank you so much for listening to my podcast. Again, for watching my YouTube videos. If you haven't, subscribe, and I shall see you very soon. Thank you very much. Peace out.